Welcome, angry faithful, to Friday's news of what the hell is going on in our world. Yeah, that's right. Me and William.
Yeehaw!
Yeehaw. Johnny's not going to be here with us today. He decided to go see a ball game. We do that around here. We have lives. So, I don't either.
And my pronouns are ye and haw.
We don't do pronouns here either. Anyways, everyone, thank you for listening. Thank you for watching so far. It's been a week of massive news. It's so weird. Our main thing that I wanted to show, it's the creme de la creme. What we've been looking for the longest time. It's so weird. Here we go. The first thing that we're going to show. Yeah, we're going to get into the beautiful big bill. We're going to go some other stuff. But this is the main thing. This is what everybody's been waiting for. And it's so strange that I have to say it.
You said Jeffrey Epstein committed suicide. People don't believe it.
Well, I mean, listen, they have a right to their opinion, but as someone who has worked as a public defender, as a prosecutor, who's been in that prison system, who's been in the Metropolitan Detention Center, who's been in segregated housing, you know a suicide when you see one, and that's what that was.
He killed himself. You want me to get, I've seen the whole file. He killed himself.
I know it's hard work.
So we have that. So, and that's another word we can't say. That gets it flagged a little bit. And
what word is that?
Suicide.
You said it.
Yeah, I know. You have to say other words, but we're starting out. We're not monetized yet. We can say what we want. If we get throttled back a little bit, we'll probably get throttled back. God dang it, Bill.
Well,
everybody's doing that. Everybody's like, well, now we can't trust this administration either. And this is Bongino. He's the one that's like harping on this thing for his views on his radio channel and his YouTube channel. He's like, no, this is it. And now he's like, but that was everybody's thing this week. Every news thing I listen to, podcasts, they're saying the same thing each and every time. They're like, we don't believe you. We're too much heavily into this. We believe the latter of the two. Yeah, go ahead, comment, reply, see if it'll help out the algorithm. Because I read I'm the only one that reads the comments of our page, and I am people need to step up their game, because I'm infallible of what people say. It is hilarious. But going on to the next thing, you know what's funny, Bill? You know what? Yeah, but no one can hear you because you muted yourself. Wait a minute, he's figuring it out. He did it again. There we go.
I didn't want everyone to hear my clickety-clack typing, but this week I don't have the Hitler mustache because
you listened to me. That was hilarious. You listened to me.
Is that good? I forgot to buy some mustache dye, so I went, oh crap, and I went, hey, David suggested, and I dug around and I actually grabbed a brand new one. But on the Kash Patel thing, the other thing that people have been saying is the liberals are, oh no, he's shutting down the J. Edgar Hoover building. Yeah, Biden already planned to do that a few years ago because the.
Oh, wait a minute. Was it Biden in the 2020-2024 Biden, or was it Biden in the like Obama time frame?
Oh, well, all of it was the Obama time frame. Obama,
Okay.
Valerie Jarrett, Anita Dunn, and
Okay.
that group, that was the real presidents. But that's another story. The J. Edgar Hoover building, if you can think, it had a 40-year-old IT system in it. So there's our super secret stuff going on with a 40-year-old IT system in it. They used a software system. It's probably a big percentage of the people out there weren't even born when that was used.
Yeah. Another thing. Speaking of Biden, condolences to his family. As much as we didn't like the administration of Biden, we have to say administration of Biden because we know now he wasn't actual president. We don't know who is doing a lot of stuff. We can't pinpoint it until the investigation actually goes through. But he has I can't really say aggressive prostate cancer because from what a lot of doctors, cancer doctors, what's the term for a cancer doctor? What's the medical term for a cancer doctor?
I don't know. Carcinologist? Nah.
What is the term for cancer doctor? Oncologist.
Oncologist, yeah.
A lot of the oncologists are saying that it's not aggressive to the point where it should have been. It's one of those ones that it should have been found out like a long time ago.
He might have even his slowdown might have even been because he was going through chemo.
Not really chemo going through the pains, but
no, they're
they're
saying some of the things that that he that you saw, the signs that you saw could have actually been for side effects from chemotherapy.
Okay. Yeah. Well, it's gone through. It's so aggressive right now. It's going to his bones. So he is not of this earth for very long.
Yes, Trump said that he has stage 10.
Yeah, it's very, very bad.
There is no stage 10.
Well,
but he did say that.
Well, we all know, like it's. We're not going to defend the man for being uninformed on a lot of stuff, but prayers for the family. Sorry to hear this. We're about to lose another president here soon because of it. We lost Jimmy Carter, and now we're going to lose Joe Biden. But it's as much as we bash the presidency of Joe Biden, we here at Green Production will not bash the man to the point where we're not going to beat him when he's down. Most of the stuff that went on during his presidency, it's almost definite that he wasn't in full control of the presidency, and we have lots of receipts that show that, and it just goes to show that the republic that we have, Democratic Republic that we have, isn't perfect, and it needs to be checked constantly, and not with blood. That is last case scenario. We do not want that. No matter what side that you are on, if it's left, if it's right, no matter what, use your voting rights that was given to us by our forefathers, and down the road through other means, amendments, and vote for what you believe this country should be. Also saying that this Monday is Memorial Day weekend. It's not a weekend of praising the military. It's to praise the people that laid down their lives for this country to make it the great country that it is today. A lot of people will argue about, oh, it's not a great country anymore. It's horrible. Vote for whatever side you are on. If you do not, then you're not part of the solution. You're part of the problem. You want to voice your opinion, yes, but vote. I don't care who you vote for, but one, vote responsibly. Go through the data. Don't go any, meeny, miny, mo. This guy. But vote for who you believe is going to be a great leader for either your community, even look through what your community is doing, your city, your town, whatever it is. I mean, Louisiana has what do they have? Louisiana has oh man, it's on the tip of my tongue. Parishes. Louisiana has parishes. Your parish, whatever your community is, vote there, and hopefully you choose the right one to vote for, and it's not destroying your community. That's one thing that we want to emphasize on the show. Yes, we do say a lot of stuff that is highly on the right side, but we also do counters to see which part would make a little bit more sense. So prayers for his family, and hopefully he doesn't have to go through horrible, horrible pain, which cancer is. Saying that,
on the Memorial Day issue, keep in mind flag etiquette and fly the flag at half staff until noon to honor the fallen military personnel and then raise the flag.
Because we get to do what we get to do because of the people that have fallen before us.
Yeah, and when you discuss it, get into conversations, keep in mind the difference between Memorial Day and Veterans Day. A lot of people kind of make the mistake, and you can explain that.
Yeah, I can explain it a lot easier because
you are a veteran.
No, it's not that.
Day, and we don't celebrate you. We don't celebrate you this weekend.
No, it's not that. We did a Memorial Day episode last year, and we had our one of our guys that we don't let on here anymore on, and he was thanking us. He was praising the day and everything, and we were like, dude, Memorial Day is for the fallen. We remember the fallen. He's like, oh. So mistakes happen. We don't get into that, but what we do get into is the craziness that is our lives and the lives of the United States right now.
And
so,
on the
go ahead, Bill.
On the Biden, cancer thing, there's a lot going out there. You will hear cancer, and then you hear, but, and they go into the current controversy. Can't play it, but I will give you a suggestion of something to watch that I think is some of his finest moments. Not someone I generally might recommend, but all 22 minutes is worth watching. Jon Stewart.
Oh.
On the official Daily Show channel, look for it. It's Jon Stewart slams CNN's bombshell Biden book promo amidst cancer diagnosis. And I think it's the best thing I've seen from Jon Stewart since he smashed the cup on his counter and cut his hand open and had to have stitches.
Or when he realized how horrible it was for the government to give internet to everybody for free.
Have you seen?
We played that episode. We played that on the show. It was horrid. He was just dumbfounded of all the restrictions that you had. What was it, like 15 parts?
Oh yeah, that was at least 15 part. Yeah, we played that. I think it's okay for us to play a podcast with commentary on it, but couldn't really play a direct Daily Show video.
No,
But
Comedy Central will flag it, and they don't have money, so
yeah.
The only thing that Comedy Central is putting right now that's keeping them alive is South Park. It really is.
Well, his Daily Show episode was kind of funny. I don't watch it very often, but this one kind of came up in my stream. In my stream that I watch every night of YouTube videos, and I was going to watch a couple of minutes of it, 3 minutes, 5, and I ended up watching all 22 minutes. I was going to find a part of it that wasn't good, and then I was going to tell people, okay, watch it up to such and such. Watch the whole thing. It's a riot. He goes big time into Anderson Cooper. And how many times the entire CNN crew held up Anderson Cooper's book. And the comment that he made, this is classic, is the news is selling you a book about news they should have told you about a year ago for free.
Yeah.
And they did. I didn't realize it because, I don't hover on CNN a lot, but yeah, it seemed like every time you turned around, they were holding up and hawking his book.
But anyways, what were we going to talk about now? Was there something special that happened this week that everybody else is talking about also, other than the Jeffrey Epstein thing? Was it some kind of, oh, wait a minute, we have it in our main thing, the beautiful big bill. Now, everybody is probably going to go up, oh, you're just going to talk all the good stuff about it and everything. You're not going to, y'all Republic. No, there's a lot of stuff in there that I don't want, that it should. This is what irks me about this, how they do bills and how they stick with tradition for the bills. This bill should have been, I think, at least 20 bills, but they jam-packed it in one.
And they had to.
I don't think they had to.
They had to, because most of it, because they don't want to give Trump a win. So anything in it that is good for the American people, especially what's good for the American people, they want to vote down. Republicans have two shots of a reconciliation bill this year. So everything that they want to get done has to get done now. And I'm not paying much attention to it yet, because the relevancy, it's got to head over to the Senate. And there's a lot of senators that say, no way in hell. And while
okay. On that note, and I'm sorry to interrupt you on that one, but okay, it passed through the Senate earlier this week, I believe. At
passed through the
100.
House.
No, there was another. Okay, I'm trying to figure out, because I keep on seeing videos of it, that it passed through the Senate 100%, but it went back to the House committee. It went back to the House committee. I think it was just the revisions of certain things of that bill. It went back to the House committee. The House committee voted for it. It barely passed there. And I have to say, it barely passed through the House, Senate, and the House of Representatives in the first place.
That was a different bill.
Was it?
That bill.
Then why is it?
I can't remember exactly what it is, but that one is going to pass. The one that was voted on 100%, and I can't remember exactly what it is, but it's not the big beautiful bill.
I don't know why, but a lot of even Ted Cruz was talking about it.
Yeah, no, they passed it. It wasn't the big beautiful bill.
I'm looking at it too. No, AI Google Grok it, because the no tax on tips passed the Senate with all 100 senators voting in favor. This unanimous vote was unexpected and broad, supporting by both Democrats and Republicans. The bill would eliminate federal income tax on tips. It now needs approval from the House.
And it will get that. And when I heard that, I went, damn, why'd they do that? Because, okay, us doing what they do, sorry, we need to get to the bottom of the barrel where they are wallowing, is that should have been in the big beautiful bill, because now they can say, look, we did it too. Otherwise, in the big beautiful bill, we could go, okay, no tax on tips. You voted against it, which is how it works. So when they pass it as a separate bill, because the House will pass it now as a separate bill, but that's not part of the big beautiful bill. That's standalone by itself. So it'll pass and it'll go to to Trump, and he'll sign it, while the big beautiful bill is still bouncing back and forth. The Senate, Thune, I think, still thinks they can push it through by the 4th of July. But then there's several other senators who say no way in hell, and they say weeks, possibly months.
Yeah.
And that's what's going to be the problem, is we need it passed now. We need everything to get through as soon as possible, because it has to get going and get traction before the midterms. Because it will boost the economy. It will help people. But it's got to be in there. And I haven't looked at it real close. Why? Because right now it's only half relevant, because it's going over to the Senate, and the Senate's going to shred it. They're going to make so many changes to it that whatever it looks like now, it's going to be completely different.
Okay, I just asked Grok, and the Grok said this. The U.S. Senate did not pass a bill with 100-0 vote this week, based on the available information. However, post on X incorrectly claimed that the No Tax on Tips Act passed with 100-0 vote on May 20th. In reality, this bill passed by unanimous consent, meaning no formal roll call vote was taken, and no senator objected. The bill established a tax deduction of up to $25,000 for tips for workers earning $160 or less in 2025.
So it basically passed just with no opposition. They didn't have the physical vote, but it did pass through the Senate.
Yeah, and it went back to the House.
And the House will pass it, because it's not going to be merged into the big beautiful bill. It's going to go through as a standalone.
Thank God, because that's also the no tax on overtime or Social Security, which I totally agree with. It was something that both parties wanted during the election. It's stupid simple. One, we shouldn't have taxes on Social Security at all. Everybody should agree to that. We pay into it throughout our work lives, and then we're taxed again on it. That's the same thing with property tax. I don't believe in property tax. If you buy a house, and now you got to pay, you still have to pay rent. That's the reason why I rent. I rent in an apartment. I do this because, one, I don't want to pay property tax because I'm still paying on something. I'm basically renting the land. It's ridiculous. We shouldn't have that.
The insurance is what really gets you. Our insurance almost doubled this year. So what the insurance agent called a couple of weeks before it was due and said, okay, there's a new insurance company I'm supposed to be promoting. I'm not familiar with it. And I question, well, how much have you dealt with them? Do you trust them? And she was like, well, yeah, I'm supposed to be promoting it. There's no plus or minus of it. And it would have saved a couple of $100 versus an insurance company that I've dealt with on roof repairs. It was great, totally smooth. So she comes back with, okay, another option would be to increase your hail damage deductible from 1% to 2%. So ended up going ahead and rolling the dice on that one. And that saved about $750. But you have this is the overtime is not in this bill that just went through. That's going to be in the big, beautiful bill. And also you're going to hear Democrats say, oh, they're removing the tax on Social Security. That's not in there. That's not it. Look, that's not in there. Well, it's not, because only full Congress has the ability, and I think it may have even been by more than a 50-50 vote. I think it takes a supermajority through the Senate to make any changes to Social Security. So it's there, people, but it's written in as deductions.
Yeah, a lot of that stuff is deductions. Even if it's the overtime, you get a deduction on how much you put into and our bills say it the same thing. It's like you got overtime, and this is your taxes off that, and your tax off overtime, and you get a deduction of that year how much overtime taxes were taken out. And
Right.
it's up to and it is actually up to a certain amount. I think
250,000.
no, it's the how much you got paid that year. You only get it for, I think it's like 30,000 to 80,000.
Of overtime pay?
No, just your pay. If you make more than 80,000, then you end up have to pay more, or it's the starting out of it is it's 30,000 to 80,000. If you make that year, if you make more of that year, like if you put in more overtime and you make more money that year, then you won't get that much of a deduction.
A lot of people make the error. Now, we are not tax advisors, so don't take this as tax advice when you fill out your taxes and go, hey.
And
but a lot of people make the mistake of saying, oh, well, I don't want to make extra money because it'll put me in a higher tax bracket. It only puts you in a higher tax bracket for the amount that's above that bracket. It doesn't take, and you're in a higher tax bracket, so your entire income is figured on that higher tax percentage. So keep that in mind when you go, oh, I don't want to work overtime because I've heard people do that. Oh, it'll put me in a higher tax bracket. Just on the pay, if you go above that after your deductions. So you
No,
still
what
got
I don't.
deductions.
No, they take the whole reason why I don't like working overtime is how much they actually take out on your overtime. They take a lot of money on your overtime.
But the percentage they take out is, God, I can't remember the name of it. There's a percentage that they take out as, say you get a single payout for a bonus. They may take 50% or whatever out of it, but they take it ahead of time on something like a bonus. And at the end of the year, you might get most of that back once your actual calculation of your rate is it's fringe benefit might be the term. If you look up taxes on fringe benefits, you're going to see that they take out immediately a higher percentage, but then they look at your actual tax bracket and you end up getting a lot of it back.
Yeah.
That's why when we got bonuses we would get the big bonus, but we would get a lot back in taxes also. It's because they overtake out of the bonus.
Another thing that they're going to implement with the bill is we get a 15% tax cut for people that are making only like 30,000 to 80,000 also. Saying that we would, and that's still a tax credit. So.
And you got to look at some of it. Some of it's based on if you itemize too.
Well, not entirely. That was actually the tax credit from 2017. We got that tax credit because he didn't sign it into a bill. He just said, "Here you go. I'm going to give you all a tax break." That's what that was. And what it ended up happening is he was supposed to make it into a law the next year. And we all know what happened there. But it's, it's from MSNBC. So it's kind of, I wasn't thinking of putting it up, but you know, I'm going to go ahead and do that. And I'm just going to put it up what MSNBC said, and it's the House Republicans on Thursday morning narrowly passed a massive bill, but and they're not going against it. They're just giving the highlights of it, really. What is good.
House Republican reconciliation bill, so you don't have to. And here's what you need to know that's in it. One of the biggest priorities here came on taxes, extending the 2017 Trump tax cuts, making sure that rates don't bounce back up early next year if they weren't extended. Some other key pieces of this tax agenda, though: no tax on tips, at least through 2028. That was a key policy priority. And then, of course, the state and local tax deduction. If you heard me talking about salt, I wasn't talking about the table condiment. We were talking about the cap on state and local tax deductions. That's now been raised from $10,000 to $40,000. A big win for blue state Republicans. We're also seeing Republicans terminate a lot of key energy and climate provisions that were from Biden's Inflation Reduction Act. Then there's the Medicaid piece, and this is going to have a wide impact because the Congressional Budget Office says that these changes could result in more than 8 million Americans losing access to health care. What we're talking about here is the addition of work requirements to access Medicaid, as well as ramping up the number of times that eligibility for those programs is checked by the states. But we're also seeing Republicans block Medicaid funding for nonprofit reproductive health care providers, which is their way of saying defunding Planned Parenthood. And by the way, if we're keeping track of costs on things, that costs the government $300 million. And major overhauls to food assistance programs like SNAP, which are seeing a big reduction in funding, but also a change to the way that states also have to pay in to funding that program. They're also adding work eligibility requirements to this as well. And the Congressional Budget Office is estimating that 3 million people could be impacted and lose access to that program because of these changes. One of the other spending priorities for Republicans was increased immigration enforcement to the tune of more than $100 million being spent at DHS, HHS, and the Department of Justice for immigration enforcement. Some of the ways they're paying for that are by asking immigrants to pay, for example, $1,000 for an asylum claim. Bottom line, who does this help and who doesn't it? It helps top earners. The top 10% of them will see their incomes rise, according to the Congressional Budget Office, over the 10-year term of this bill. The opposite is true for the 10% of lowest earners, or the poorest Americans. That's what's in the bill right now, but change is the only constant here.
So that was NBC saying that. And a lot of stuff are in it. And yes, it is going to change.
Yeah, the SALT is going to bounce back and forth.
Yeah.
There's a lot of contention on that.
Another thing that's that got, from what I was seeing, I'm not like too indefinite on this one, but it's what I've been seeing online. For the tax cuts, they gave up the Doge numbers and said they're not going to go after the Doge numbers for how much we're going to cut from certain things. But I don't think that's going to happen for the Doge stuff, because like the DOD has been tightening up the belt. A lot of other DOJ has been tightening up their belt. A lot of other places too. I mean,
I do believe that is why I think Elon got absolutely. I think if someone could go behind the scenes, pissed at the Republicans this week.
I don't think he would. I don't think
Elon is out, and it was because they would not codify the Doge cuts.
Yeah,
and if you noticed in this just most totally awesome moment with the South American president, most totally awesome. Someone had mentioned Elon. I think it was at that conference. And then he said, this isn't about Elon, because they were talking about South Africa and all that. And he said, this isn't about Elon. So he just totally blew it off. And Elon's expression in the background, he was seething. And then he said that there's no, he's going to stop his donations for political donations. So he has completely backed out of it.
Which I can understand, because
and
I honestly, I knew it was, because if you look hard enough, I knew it was a political chip that he's trying to keep on the table, like raising up his political money, as so to speak. But it's one of those ones that he should have kept on the table and said, no, we're doing this, because there's so much government spending that needs to be stopped. And hopefully it's a chip he's going to keep up, but he's, after the bill's paid and everything, he's like, yeah, I'm just joking with you guys. I mean, it ruined the next bill that he's trying to get passed, but we need to tighten up, because if this actually goes through, we're going to attack on, some people are saying $4.3 trillion added to the budget, and some people are saying 2.9 onto the budget. And right now, we're just paying off the interest. Like, a person that overspends on their credit card and has one credit card paying for the other credit card. Although we are getting a little bit of Qatar's debt for
or has a line of credit with a bank and then writes a check out of the line of credit to pay for the credit card, and then gets a cash advance on the credit card to pay for the line of credit. That's called kiting, and it's not legal. It wasn't.
It's legal if it's the government's that's doing it, Bill.
Well, yeah. I mean, if you do it, it's not legal.
The government's been doing that with Medicaid and Social Security. What else have they been doing it to? Anything that collects money and has an interest rate that keeps into a fund and collects interest on it. They've been like pilfering it like it's their own little war chest. And it's been a constant.
Do you have the I think
Instant relief for snow.
I think I've got it. Hold on.
That was actually kind of funny. I forgot about that.
I gotta wait till after the commercial. You mean the South Africa moment?
Yeah. I mean
the absolute boss moment. Here is the boss moment.
Oh, did you find it?
Yeah. Oh, why am I not? Hold one moment. Technical issue.
I got it right here.
I got it.
Okay.
We have thousands of stories talking about it. Sure. We have documentaries, we have news stories, and that is Natalie here? Somebody here to turn that? I could show you a couple of things, and I have to. It has to be responded to. Yeah, sure. Let me see the articles, please, if you would. And turn the lights down. Turn the lights down, and just put this on. It's right behind you.
God, he's smiling.
Nothing this parliament can do, with or without you, people are going to occupy land. We require no permission from you, from the president, from no one. We don't care. We can do whatever you want to do. Who are you to tell us whether we can occupy land or not? We are going to occupy land. South Africa occupy land. That's who we are.
Okay, I won't play the whole thing because I've watched a lot of.
Get to the end. Get to the end of his face. His face was priceless.
You pull yours up. I'm not sure exactly the clip. And also, do you have when he pulled out the articles?
No, I don't have that. No,
I know I haven't played the whole thing because there's something in there in the video that they're playing that a lot of podcasters have gone, okay, I've got to cut it here because there's some stuff said during that video that YouTube doesn't like us very well and wants to shut us up. They don't like us saying certain things.
Yeah.
Like that group of people over that we dropped bad things on that made things go boom. And it's a group of people that don't like other people. And it's something like that awful food hummus. It kind of sounds like that. We can't say that. That's censorship. Anyway.
I like this.
Do you have the end of it?
No. Economic freedom fighters. Donald Trump is a liar. Down with imperialism.
Oops.
Okay, I have what you were talking about. I guess
about when he pulls out the articles.
No.
Oh, yeah. Elon, they wanted to bring Elon into it, someone said, and the way he said that he didn't want that this wasn't about Elon or something like that. It was like
there's nothing you can do, there's nothing this parliament can do. With or without you, people are going to occupy land. We require no permission from you, from the president, from no one. We don't care. We can do whatever you want to do. Who are you to tell us whether we can occupy land or not? We are going to occupy land. Yes. South African occupy land.
Okay, here's the thing on this though. This has happened several times in not our history, but history of the world. In situations like this, where a government won in 2018, they took away the guns. Now they're openly saying to the farmers that we're going to do genocide and we're going to take away your land. Here's the problem. The big problem. And it happened in, I don't know, USSR. It happened in Russia. Russia took away the guns. It also happened in 1938 in Germany. They took away the farmers. Then they implemented people that they thought could run a farm. Guess what they couldn't do? Run a farm. They totally decimated the farms. What's going to happen in those communities right now after all those farmers? And yes, we took a lot of asylum, and not a lot of people are actually paying attention to that. And a lot of news outlets aren't. They're saying just horribles like it for these asylum seekers, the mothers and children who are, yes, white. What is happening and what's going to happen is those places are going to be famine. They're going to have famine because of the basic fact that they're going to implement people that they think can run those farms, and they can't run those farms. And they're going to be coming up and saying, hey, we need help feeding our people because, well, we got rid of the people that are making the food sources. Our bad, which is ridiculous.
If you want to look something up, it was kind of a longer segment than we generally play here, but Scott Jennings is very most awesome on CNN. If you see any of his clips, and Scott Jennings got onto him on the South African genocide.
Oh, I know what you're talking about now. Go ahead, play that thing.
Oh, go ahead.
Play that beautiful bean footage, Bill. Did you not have it ready?
No,
you didn't, because I see you scrolling into it in the presents pile.
Well,
I didn't have it ready.
I had it up. Do you have it?
No, I don't have it. Why do you keep on asking me this?
Okay.
Every time you ask me, I was like, do you have it? No, Bill, I don't have it.
I have it.
I know you have it. I see you scrolling for it and looking for it.
I'm a refugee.
Okay. Now, here, let me just present it, Bill. There we go. Play it.
I am sure there's been violence. We have a refugee program. I am sure there's been violence against one side or the other.
There has been violence. Hold on a second. I want to make a point. Violence does not equal genocide. So we need to be really, really clear about that, because if you look
at
the
dead guy, you may not say that.
No, I would say that, actually, because if you look at what genocide is, it is very specific that you're trying to get rid of a people, a whole group of people. There is violence in South Africa. They've had a very big uptick in violence. But Black people have seen the brunt of that violence.
Okay.
Not just.
So let me ask this question of the panel. If you get a passport and you're South African, and you have that passport and you're of Dutch descent, and someone else has the same passport, is this a tainted passport? Is it not equal? Are you not a citizen? Do you not have the same rights?
You know what?
Or they're special?
No. You're right. It's the same passport. That means you have to follow the laws. Each person has to follow laws. And right now, what the Dutch is saying, we don't want to follow the laws of the land. So they're saying their passport, like it was during apartheid, when Africans didn't even have a passport because they had a passport.
I'm hearing them saying my passport's not the same, and I fear for my life, and I'm leaving the country. That's what I'm hearing.
I also thought Trump said we're going to enforce immigration laws. And this is not enforcing immigration laws. It's breaking a law that clearly says if there's a genocide, you get to come as a refugee.
Well, he's put a refugee ban on practically everybody else. Most of that everybody else that I can think of are either Black people or brown people. We are seeing right now Cuban mothers torn away as they are breastfeeding 1-year-old U.S. citizen child.
Armenian genocide. When was it?
A cruel dictatorship. We are seeing Nicaraguans and Venezuelans and Haitians, where the country is held in a handbasket, and Cubans who had parole status to come into this country
Anna, fair
before
enough.
they have to
But
leave.
let's celebrate
Okay.
one thing together.
This is the wrong clip.
Okay. Here's something for you.
But I did find the oops.
Okay,
Let's
hold on,
not
Bill.
pull him up.
Hold on, Bill. Hold on. Okay. The main thing they were arguing about on that was you can do genocide but without violence, which that's not how that works. And I'm going to tell you the word genocide, how it became, how it prospered, and what happened. During April 24th, 1915 to the 16th, there was something called the Armenian Genocide. Now, Turkish government does not say that there was an Armenian genocide or what the word came from. That's actually where the word genocide came from. They didn't have a word what was happening to the Armenians, and it was awful. Massive amounts of killings by a group of what they are calling themselves, and there's a YouTube channel on this now called the Young Turks, which I'm surprised they kept the name for as long as it is, because everybody knows that the Young Turks are equally, and the name is synonymous for the Armenian genocide. Saying that, genocide is trying to wipe out a group of people of a certain ethnicity, and that's what's happening in South Africa right now. And people can't live in peace anymore. And yes, there's a lot of history with Dutch, with everybody up in the sun. Everybody has history with one another during any kind of practice. It's either A or it's B or it's C. I mean, there's a story from a soldier that guy dug up a tank mine and put it into his neighbor's front door, knocked on the door, hoping that the guy would open it up and blow him up. And it's all because like 2 years ago, he like stole his goat or something. This was in the Middle East, and I wish I could make some of this stuff up, but people.
So he took his lover away.
Pretty much, yeah.
Okay,
we'll go with that. It sounds more funnier. But
I did,
but I mean, I talked to a guy today while playing a video game, getting ready for all my stuff here on the podcast, and I literally we talked and Nazium about a lot of stuff, mainly how everything in Europe, every culture in Europe hates each other for one reason for another for about hundreds of thousands of years. But he was also praising America, so I was like, preach on. But that's how we're so tribal to the fact of, and it is and I think a lot of people are suggesting that because of the internet, our tribal is going like through the roof. It really is, to the point to where we can be in the same tribe of something that we're not even part of. And that was another thing that happened this week that a lot of people are half and half talking about is and I'm going to say massacre, even though it was two people, the massacre of two Jewish people
to promote Palestine. That happened this week. And that was horrible. And they were doing it because they want to promote Palestine by killing more people. And I am so glad that you Sharpied your mustache after I suggested it. So you didn't look like a certain individual from 1938 to 1945.
I've been tempted to do a joke of do the Elon, but you know that just isn't taken as a joke because people do still frames and make everything of it. So I won't do the Elon dance.
It's not a dance; it's a gesture.
Well, he was on stage, he was putting his hands in the air, and then
a lot of
he was kind of dancing around. A lot of Democrats have done that, yeah. But I did find that that clip, and I have fast forwarded it to when it gets onto the panel. There was a couple of minutes of intro to it.
Okay,
but this is when it starts onto the panel with here.
Majority of them are black people. And we have now
The farmers are black. The farmers are not black. I don't say that's good or bad, but the farmers are not black.
Joining us in our fifth seat at the table is Elise Labott. She is the Edward R. Murrow Press Fellow at the Council on Foreign Relations and host of Cosmopolitics on Substack. And you can see there why President Ramaphosa was a negotiator for the anti-apartheid government. Because he had extraordinary patience in trying to explain to Trump that what he is claiming there in the Oval Office for the world to see is just not true.
That's right. And he also, brought some props with him. He brought some South African golfers, a coffee table book. He knows that, he needs to kind of, in this feudal system, bring gifts to President Trump. It wasn't enough to stop that ambush, but he tried to correct the facts, let him know that the majority, and there is a lot of crime in South Africa, the majority is not against whites, it's against blacks. The majority is not against farmers, as you said in the intro. President Trump didn't want to hear any of it. It wasn't till one of the golfers and one of the white billionaires that he brought with him said, look, President Trump, this is what's going on. And I think that's when, then there was a joke about the jet, which we'll talk about later. But that's when I think the meeting kind of turned and the tensions were lowered a little bit.
This is straight out of the conspiracy land of the far right. And it is not based in fact. And it's amazing that this has actually become the foreign policy of the United States based on just straight up. I mean, we have the numbers. It is completely unsubstantiated. I mean,
you're saying it's not true that some white farmers have been murdered?
No, it's not true that there is a genocide against white
farmers.
Okay,
whatever you call it, have white farmers been murdered?
Actually, how many
have violence been committed against white farmers?
How many white farmers? Hold on a second. How many white farmers have been murdered?
I don't know. Several. I mean, they asked.
No. How many?
I don't know. Several.
I know why you don't know. Because those numbers don't exist broken down by race.
I mean, I know that. I wouldn't trust the South African government to tell me. I know that.
How many black farmers have been murdered in South Africa?
Look. You guys are so triggered over 59 people.
No, I'm not.
After we left 20 million people in the country, I don't know why you're so triggered.
Haven't even brought up the white people that Trump picked out because they were white and told them they could come to the country.
How much racial killing are you going to condone?
There are 19,000 murders in South Africa. 36 were on farms. 7 of the farmers were victims. Okay, this is according to the South African police.
And you think the South African government is a credible source?
The other 29, hold on a second. The 29 victims who were included in the farm killings were farm employees who tend to be black. So the vast majority of people killed on farms in South Africa are black. Where is the concern about them?
The concern is that there are white farmers who have had violence committed against them, and they're being threatened. They're being threatened every single day. There's 59 people, and you're triggered about 59 people, and I don't know why.
I haven't mentioned anything about 59 people. Why are you only concerned about white people?
I'm only concerned about this story because these 59 people asked for status. They're getting status, and now everybody's freaking out.
They didn't ask for anything.
There is no evidence that white people have been targeted. Some white people in the larger issue of farmers, in the larger issue of violence, have been part of this violence, but there
Then why
is
are they
no
trying to get out? Why are they? If there's no,
Scott,
why are they trying to leave?
the majority of
Have you seen the videos of the people saying "kill the white farmers"?
The Afrikaners do not want.
What do you think the phrase "kill the white farmers" means?
Yeah, that's a phrase that was a phrase that was against the anti-apartheid movement. But the ANC, who's ruling the government, the president's government, has disavowed that phrase, has disavowed it in songs, and there's no evidence that white people are being targeted. And the majority of the Afrikaners do not want to leave.
Okay. that was just, it was getting kind of ridiculous.
Yeah. The good part is actually toward the end when he responds.
Okay.
But that's okay.
Okay.
It's kind of a long video.
Yeah. We'll go over that later on. But it is, and what you're doing in the comments saying the word of the day is ambush. There's a lot of that. Every news outlet, except for a couple of them, use the word ambush.
There was a really good montage of all of them overlapping the word ambush.
Hold on. I think I sent that to you. Let me check my stuff while I talk for a little bit. No, it's not that. No, it's not that. No, I could have sworn I sent it to you. I guess I didn't.
The montage?
Yeah, there was a montage of it that I sent. I don't think, no. I guess I didn't send it to you. Let me check.
Sometimes we wander onto some really good topics that we've heard things because so much is going on. I watch over a dozen videos a night, so it's all kind of in there. And then we wander onto that topic, and it's like, I remember that.
Yeah.
Where is it?
No, that's definitely not that one. I can't show that one. Anyways.
What is it a montage of?
But I've seen that montage of everybody saying ambush, saying this. Here's the theory. What a lot of people are talking about with what's going on with that, saying the words ambush, saying this, the reason why everybody's going up in arms because he's allowing asylum to white immigrants from South Africa.
Who actually requested it and are going through the actual legal proper channels.
Mm-hmm. But what a lot of people are saying is that they're setting it up for the summer. They're trying to cause riots. A lot of people are afraid of that. They're trying to set this up so they can cause riots to dismantle his administration. If the whole George Floyd thing didn't happen, then it wouldn't have caused all the riots that there was another couple of ones that it happened and it caused riots too. And I saw the powder keg getting ready to blow, and as soon as it blew, I was like, "Oh, yep, that hit hard. He's done for a while." But it's getting to the point to where the news media, they call themselves, and I don't call us a news media. I call us, this is what and it's in the intro that I do with us. I say, hey, this is stuff that I found interesting this week that is news related or makes me say, what the hell? That's the whole reason why we have these episodes up. Some of them are good, some of them are funny, and some of them are just really weird. And some of them needs to be brought into the light for certain individuals, especially this next one that we're going to go bring up. But it's one of those things that legacy media needs to either A, step up their game and be better and be actual reporters and come up with like actual investigation reporting, not like Watergate, because apparently that was affected by the CIA. We come to find out now. But like our next one, we are the media. We're not the media, Bill. Okay, here's another what the hell segment that I found. That's what we should do. We should just call them what the hell segments. That's another what the hell segment that if this is real, which it seems it is, and I'll give a little bit of a preference to it. Made in Canada, it's MA lowercase I and D, and they'll emphasize it in the clip. Is a thing that started with the military, that the people for PTSD, and because they have free healthcare in Canada, they couldn't help them out, so they helped them out with assisted suicide. And this is what I got to share it through this way, and this is what it actually come down to, what they're trying to do now.
Right. What the hell is going on in Canada right now? I'm seeing some evil stuff coming out of there right now, and I want to talk to you about it because I think this is pretty important. All right, so there's this pamphlet here that says a special committee of MPs and senators studying MAID has recommended allowing MAID for mature minors. A mature minor is a child or a teen who is deemed capable of making a decision for MAID. This would essentially remove the minimum age of eligibility. The committee also suggested parents may not be consulted and wouldn't need to consent to their child's death via MAID. Now, if you don't know what MAID is, MAID stands for Medical Assistance in Dying, refers to a legal process in Canada.
You are now dead. Thank you for using Stop and Drop,
Where a person can request medical help to end their life, typically through euthanasia. They're referring to it as physician-assisted death. So what this pamphlet is saying that is a child or teen could go to a doctor, and they're saying that what they should be able to do is go to a doctor and ask for them to have physician-assisted death without consulting their parents first, especially during a time where you're going through puberty, your hormones are all out of whack. You know, a lot of kids have depression and anxiety at that time because you're getting showered with tons of different chemicals in your brain. And then it goes on to say children are uniquely vulnerable. Canada's first priority must be to provide high quality medical care for children. I'm sorry, but physician assisted death is not medical care. It's not medical care. MAID for mental illness. MAID for mental illness is set to take effect in March 2027. And then it goes down on the bottom and says, it tries to elaborate. It says 1 in 10 people will wait more than 4 months for counseling. The waiting period for MAID is only 3 months. They're literally encouraging people to have physician assisted death. Think about that. I don't know about you. I have a lot of friends in Canada and I love the Canadian people, but this is evil. This is evil stuff right here. We're not talking about like abortion. We're talking about people that are alive and the government helping facilitate those people take their own lives. That's some pretty dark stuff right there. I don't know. I'd be curious to hear how many of you knew this was even going on.
So yeah. Thoughts, Bill?
2 seconds, just about 2 seconds. Doing a search on it. Well, anyway, I was looking for the exact article. The first time I saw the assisted suicide, it didn't have to do with the military. It was in Newfoundland, and I've got the wrong browser up. But if you do a date search and limit it to about 6 months ago, you'll find that they were the first ones in Canada who had come out and decided the medical assisted suicide for elderly that were sick to help their healthcare system. And then that spread through a few more provinces. And then they decided, well, it's not just the elderly that are sick. It can be elderly that just don't feel good really well. And then it's evolved, and that was about 10 years ago. And last year it went all the way down to, well, it doesn't have to be the elderly. And if someone has any mental problems, they can do the suicide to get away from mental problems. Their healthcare is on the downfall so steep that they're looking at any way to reduce the costs. And that's how it has evolved. So now we've got what you played. It's just they keep trying to find other ways to expand the assisted suicide.
Yeah.
And that's what's going on. I was looking at it. I wrote an article on it. Like I said, it was probably about 10 years ago. I did a deep dive into the assisted suicide of Canada. I was doing a deep dive into the healthcare system of Canada altogether. And that's when I ran across that article that was in Newfoundland, the doctor saying, oh, hey, here's how we're going to start reducing the cost of healthcare, get rid of the old people.
Yeah. Now, it's a slippery slope, and that's the reason why. I mean, our healthcare system is still ridiculous. Should we have free healthcare? I'm absolutely for free healthcare, for helping everybody out. But from what I'm looking at, and we do have free healthcare for people that are veterans. And every time I see it, I'm like, this is ridiculous. And I also believe that we shouldn't have to go super bread and water for the rest of our lives because we have some kind of accident and it's going to cost us through the nose, even though you have insurance. I don't believe that either. There has to be a viable solution. Other than, going out and volunteer for the shake and bake pod so we can get out of the problems of the world.
Well, they didn't have to destroy the entire system with Obama crap. They could have taken, the pre-existing condition. Texas had a Blue Cross Blue Shield high-risk pool. They had that at the time, still have it. Well, they might not have it now because you got Obamacare, you got tax dollars paying for everything. But the people who had pre-existing conditions, you had the Blue Cross Blue Shield high-risk pool that would not deny anyone for a pre-existing condition. We could have subsidized that. Yes, it was expensive. How do I know it was expensive? Because there was a time period we ran out of health care because of being in between jobs, but I knew about the pre-existing condition thing. So I made sure it was a top priority that we continued our insurance. And when our insurance shot through the roof, I was looking around and I found that high risk pool. And that was about 15, 16 plus years ago. Yes, it was really expensive, but like I said, they could have subsidized the high risk pool. But if you give insurance to everyone, you're looking at countries that, your tax rate is 50% on a normal person. And now the 50% on a normal person, it's failing. Canada's losing their doctors because they can't afford the cuts that they're getting paid. So they're breaking out and going into private practice. So Canada's system it sounded good to some, but it's falling apart. They can't afford it anymore. They're losing their doctors right and left. That's one reason why it can take 6 to 8 weeks. You want an MRI here? Oh yeah, we'll schedule your do you want Tuesday? And you want an MRI down there, it might be 6 to 8 plus weeks. You might have a broken bone and it might take a year to go through the process for it. So, and you got to watch it when someone says that and they give an example and say, no, look, it's not. Each province is basically its own healthcare entity. There is a national system, but then each province is separate. So in one province, it may take 4 weeks. In one province, it might take 8 weeks. So it depends.
Okay.
Okay.
Now, there is one other thing that I wanted to talk about and get your thoughts on. It's kind of in the weird category, but I still wanted you to.
Is Kavanaugh hearings?
What? Me? Weird?
Remember, is during the Kavanaugh hearings, the White House. Remember the Kavanaugh hearings?
Very well.
What you don't remember is during the Kavanaugh hearings, the White House, the Senate, the House, Republican and Democrat, issued an administrative policy called Federal Accounting Standards Advisory Board Statement 56. And what that policy said is we do not have to obey the constitutional provisions related to financial budgeting and disclosure. We do not have to obey the laws, and we do not have to obey the regulations. What we can do is appoint a secret group of people to move money out of the financial disclosures of the United States and 150, so it's the 24 covered agencies plus approximately 150 governmental entities. And when you throw in the classification laws and the national security laws, it also applies to the big banks and contractors working for the US government. Remember the Kavanaugh hearings?
Interesting. Send that to me and I'll dig deeper into it.
Oh, Bill, hold on.
Well, you don't have to exactly right now.
Okay. Because it's on TikTok. That's the reason why I can't send it to you.
Oh yeah. I don't have that Chinese spyware on my phone. But I'm sure if you copy the title and do a search on the title, someone probably has it on YouTube.
I am not the title. I am. Hold on real quick.
I can't hear you.
Okay, good. I'm going to send you the words that were part of the thing. There we go. And it was the Statement of Federal Financial Accounting Standards 56 classified activities.
Okay. I'll check into that and maybe get back with you on it. I got 2 more points.
Okay.
One of them is just kind of something to think about. You know, we did that 90-day pause with China for the tariffs.
Mm-hmm.
Why did we do a 90-day pause? Just to be nice? No. One of the things we're doing with that 90-day pause, we're looking for other suppliers. We're spending the 90 days looking at other countries to get the products from and discussing with companies to, hey, you maybe you want to move to Vietnam out of China and produce that, and we'll buy it from you without such and such tariff. If you move to Vietnam, we can get it from you there. Everything he's doing is to box China in. And that's one of the reasons. That's one of the things they're doing with the 90-day pause is looking for other suppliers.
There was another thing that happened that that pissed Trump off was Apple going instead of to China to India.
Yeah, that's kind of We don't know. The latest thing I heard a couple of hours ago is he is putting a tariff on that will affect all cell phones, not just Apple, but Samsung, everything else. And also the EU, they are not our friends, not at all. And today he put, I think today or yesterday, last night, he put a 50% tariff on products from the EU because talks broke down with them.
Which is strange because last week the talks were actually pretty decent.
Yeah, they broke down. They're not gonna be decent because the thing is, Ursula and the group in is it in not Geneva, somewhere where they're holding the meetings, they're making the decisions. The EU is comprised of unelected bureaucrats who make the decisions for all the independent countries.
Mm-hmm.
And right now they're making trade deals that affect all the other countries. The other countries don't even know what's going on. They don't know what the deals are. That one little group that leads the EU is controlling it, not even passing it on. And whatever they just did, I saw Scott Bessett this morning, talks totally broke down. Of course, he won't give, they press him for detailed information. And he said, I'm not going to negotiate in the media, which he shouldn't. But that's the latest thing with Europe. Every time they come out and say, oh, we don't need the U.S., then something else comes up, just like the war in, can we say the U country name?
Ukraine, yeah.
Oh my gosh. Just like the war in Ukraine, people who comment will go, look, Trump wasn't involved in that meeting because he's not sitting there. Yeah, but if you read Starmer, Macron, any of their actual comments after they leave those meetings, they'll specifically say, we're doing this, and this, which can't be done without Trump and the Americans. So yeah, the people are going, oh, we're going to break off from you. Yeah, BS. Stick it.
Yeah. Well, we were also talking about something about Canada before the podcast about the trade deal with them.
Oh, yeah. Let's see. I've got that. I've got.
We need what we need to do to be somewhat semi-professionals or better amateurs, I guess, so to speak.
It's write an outline of we're going to talk about this and this and this and this, and we're going to spend this much time and have bullet points. Yeah, we need a script.
Well, not really a script. It's not, because if you say script, it's kind of sounds like that we're going over stuff, and now we're talking about blah 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 blah. Your thoughts, Bill? Okay, I totally agree with you on that. No, we're not.
Hey, that sounded good.
What we're gonna do is we're gonna write down the topics, so we're gonna push in on through the podcast. And that's what we're going to go over.
So I'm not hunting through my 4,000 tabs that are open?
Fucking basically, yeah.
Well, anyway, I found what it is. If you look a couple of weeks ago, there's a podcaster I really like. Moose on the Loose. If you want a good Moose on the Loose, if you want a good podcaster. And he came out with it a few weeks ago that Carney had secretly started dropping the tariffs that they had put on U.S. goods. So right now the tariffs are almost zero. So there is some relation between Carney and Trump that kind of some people look at. Trump made that comment that, oh, I can deal with Carney better. It might be better if the liberal guy won. And everyone went, what? Well, now it seems like Carney, if you listen to his most recent statements, he sounds pretty cozy with Trump. So all of this elbows up in Canada, where he ran his entire campaign on hating Trump, that was all a lie.
Mm.
And somewhere behind the scenes, you could dig, there might be some business dealings that have gone on in the past that they are actually a little, they know each other. They know each other. They've known each other for years through business dealings that Carney has done in the United States. That's why Carney, they call him, a lot of people call him a phony up in Canada, because he moved most of his businesses to the United States. But anyway, Carney's, this is from Bloomberg, Carney's new tariffs on U.S. dropped to nearly zero with some exemptions. And some people, one person said that some of their exemptions are, they still left tariffs on food. And the Canadians are having some food issues with food costs going up. So no one knows quite what that one is about. And I have one other thing, if you want to get into it now.
We can do that right after this one. Representative Tom Burchett confirms that Biden staffers were taking payoffs in exchange for auto pen pardons, another word for bribes. Now, they're saying now arrest them, every single one of them, for their crimes. Destruction, alteration, or falsificating of records, tampering with a witness, obscuring justice, bribery, and treason. So I got that from Real Robert. Real Robert, anti-sheep, the man employed by McDonald's, won in 2016, in 2020, and 2024 with the beginning. God created the heavens and the earth. Let's light begin. I don't know if that's actually full. I mean, the auto pen thing, we already know that it's actually real.
Life begins with a Big Mac? What?
Okay, I'll show you the thing. Hold on. And then we'll get into your stuff. I don't think it. Okay. This is where it's coming from. It's coming from the Real Robert, and his stuff says the anti-sheep, the man employed by McDonald's, won in 2016, in 2020, and 2024, with the beginning God created the heavens and the earth. Let the light begin. But he's saying that Representative Tim Blanchett confirms that Biden staffers are taking were taking payoffs in exchange for auto pen pardons, which we already know about the auto pen stuff. We know that they're probably done with the pardons. So,
yeah, the Biden had no knowledge of what he was doing the last 4 years, and they kept it that way. I
mean, look, okay.
There's been a couple of movies that kind of Moon Over Parador. That it brings to mind something like that. That the person had actually died, and they replaced the leader with a lookalike.
The 1988 film.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, and Dave's another one.
And the Star Trek episode where the guy crashes on a planet and uses basically the Nazi type because he thought it was efficient, and he introduced it into a society, and they became that society. And he was kind of dying, and they put him in front of a microphone, And,
well, there's a lot of
played a voiceover. Yeah, there's a lot of them that that do that. But he was not president for 4 years, and it wouldn't surprise me if they didn't have some chemo or something going on, and purposely made him like that.
I mean, look at
so they could use him as a puppet, and they could do all of their other stuff. Because Biden was a moderate. Biden himself would have never let the border open. In fact, there was a point. There was an interview where they mentioned something like that, and he went, "I didn't sign that." Yeah, he would never have done that. So other people were behind it, and they must be found.
Yeah. Well, look at, you can see in the first day of an office when we sign all those executive orders, they were just handing like, am I supposed to sign this too? Okay.
I need to find it. I made a post. Unfortunately, I made the post on Discus, and you can't really search your previous posts anymore. But I made a post on it toward the beginning of his administration. I was looking for a executive order on coins, like electronic trade, electronic money, and I transposed the numbers, and I got a different executive order. And the executive order actually gave authority for people other than Biden to sign orders. Within an executive order, he signed. It gave other people in the office the authority the legal authority to sign them. And I think it was between the inauguration and April. I think it was February. I'm going to see if Grok can analyze, and I think he can analyze all the executive orders in the first few months, and then type in the phrase of what I'm looking for that I know I remember I read, and I'll bet he can find it, because I'd spent a lot of time looking through executive orders. Most of the open borders garbage happened from inauguration to the second week of February.
Okay. The open border stuff, though, if memory serves me correctly, it was after, what it was the border open after the whole mandate of having it closed from Trump for the COVID incident.
There's some specific executive orders that there was a couple on the first. It took, because Trump had done executive orders that closed the border, and yeah, you had the couple of things that kept it closed because of COVID, but most of the executive orders that opened the border had nothing to do with COVID. And one of them is the first day. One or two of them was the first day, the 20th, and then several of them were during the first and second week of February. If you read executive orders in that time frame, you'll find the ones that this is how it opened the border. This is how it allowed this kind of people in. Then we're allowing this to do this. You've got to look at them individually, which the news doesn't really talk about executive orders that much. But being a political wonk, I like to actually read the executive orders themselves. And you get into some really interesting things if you start reading some of his executive orders. You can see, like the DEI, one of his early executive orders was to install DEI in every single government organization, every single project, every single group. And he had a timeline of must be completed in 3.5 years. So basically, he wanted everything so ingrained right before a new president that no one could touch it. But the Biden administration, he had planned to win. and they had looked at it very closely. And what he did the first day took a lot of that stuff, that completing the DEI and ingraining it in the organizations. And I thought, oh man, it's going to take a decades for a Republican to get in there and change this, to weed out all that garbage. Yeah, he was ready to do it. And in the first few days, his executive orders just started ripping it apart, organization by organization. But
well, any more last ones, Bill?
Yeah, I got to get into this one that has the 2-minute and 45-second video.
Okay.
It is, you get Starmer and all the other EU people, Macron, and you get some of the people around him who say, yeah, we're going against the Americans. Well, no, you actually read their statements and they're not. And we have a base that was instrumental in the hummus, thing earlier, or a couple of months, a month ago. I have a relative who was actually over there. Anyway, in Diego Garcia, we have a military base that is Air Force and Navy. And it is a critical island for the Indian Ocean. And the Indian Ocean, you're looking at all the way down, covers Australia. So that base is central to defending everything from Australia to, well, I had a map up. Everything. Look up the Indian Ocean and look a circle around the Indian Ocean. But the UK has never really exactly owned it. It's kind of bounced around from ownership. And in 2019, The Hague ruled that the UK must transfer the islands to another country, as they were not legally separated from them from 1965. So 2019, it was extended to 2036, but still it wasn't quite binding. We were about to lose that island. We were about to lose that base because of this back and forth with the Hague and the UK saying, you don't really own it. So Starmer did something yesterday, and it pissed off a lot of the people in the UK.
Mm-hmm.
But they don't understand just how important the base is. But yeah, he got it on a 99-year lease, paying over 100 million. I'm not sure if it's pounds or dollars a year on a 99-year lease. The UK is going to be paying that much to keep that island or that atoll so they can keep the base going. And here was Starmer's announcement about the agreement.
Good afternoon. A few moments ago, I signed a deal to secure the joint UK-US base on Diego Garcia. This is absolutely vital for our defence and intelligence, and therefore for the safety and security of the British people.
Away from the mic, Mill.
This is so important. Is highly classified.
What?
Away from the mic,
as
Bill.
quickly as I can. The strategic location of this base is of the utmost significance to Britain. From deploying aircraft to defeat terrorists in Iraq and Afghanistan, to anticipating threats in the Red Sea and the Indo-Pacific, the base is right at the foundation of our security and safety at home. It has helped us to disrupt threats to the UK, to support counter-terror operations against Islamic State, and to reduce the risk to brave British and American servicemen and servicewomen. The base will help protect the safe passage of our carrier strike group as it goes through the Middle East. It enables rapid deployment across the Middle East, East Africa, and South Asia. It helps combat some of the most challenging threats that we face, including from terrorism and hostile states. And its location creates a real military advantage across the Indo-Pacific. The base gives the UK and the US access to unique and vital capabilities, which benefit us directly. Many of these capabilities are secret, but they include airfield and deep water port facilities, facilities that support the worldwide operation of GPS and the monitoring of objects in the Earth's orbit, and equipment to monitor the Nuclear Test Ban Treaty. The base is one of the most significant contributions that we make to our security relationship with the United States, which is critical for keeping Britain safe. Almost everything we do from the base is in partnership with the US. President Trump has welcomed the deal along with other allies because they see the strategic importance of this base and that we cannot cede the ground to others who would seek to do us harm.
So this is what you don't see watching the regular media. You just hear about, Trump is isolating us, so we're enemies all around to all the European countries, and we're isolated. No, this is the kind of stuff that is going on. That how many people heard about that?
That is actually really amazing, because I didn't hear one word about it, even in all the podcast stuff that I listened to. But
the podcast, a lot of the podcasts I listen to are podcasters in Canada, Australia, the UK, and a couple from the United States. So I'm in tune to the rest of the world a lot.
Yeah.
But you get a lot from the other countries like Canada because of the Canada-US relations. Then you get our news from a Canadian person that you don't hear in the Fox, CNN, nothing. Some of this stuff you haven't heard of. Like, yeah, who heard his announcement that they were going to be paying that much on a 99-year lease for that kind of project? And notice how he stresses over and over the Americans. It's because they own it, or they kind of thought they owned it as a British territory, but it wasn't. But now it's an actual lease, and we're the ones who actually use it.
Yeah,
as far as for a base. But you look at the you look at the area you look at the area that covers around the Indian Ocean, and it's really a phenomenal number of countries.
Well, we do the same thing with like Saudi Arabia, Germany. Not Germany. We own that property because, well, we got it through a war. Saudi Arabia, Kuwait, Bahrain. We lease lots of places over
Shepherd Air Force Base.
No, not Shepherd Air Force Base. We don't lease that.
Part of it we do.
Oh, really?
The part that handles the 80th Flying Training Wing.
Oh,
and all the way to half of the refuel area. So only a part of the refuel area is actual government land. When when someone takes over and the government takes over, they secede from the state, and it becomes government actual property. So right to work laws on federal would come into play. But since that section of land is under a 99-year lease, it is still owned by Texas. So the Texas right to work laws apply.
Interesting.
So, yeah, it's Australia. You're looking at Indonesia. What are we trying to protect? Thailand, Malaysia, India, Saudi Arabia, Pakistan. All of that is around the Indian Ocean, and it is also the base, one of the bases where if we turn Iran into a piece of glass, that's one of the bases we'll be launching from. We'll be launching our bombers from that base.
What is the location of the base?
It's pretty much in the middle of the Indian Ocean. So it's, oops, you were putting my.
Good thing it wasn't anything.
Yeah, I didn't know you were doing that. So hold on, and I'll get a good map up. In fact, let me pull up the base. That big
we got 15 minutes, Bill. Hurry up.
Okay. You can pull it up.
And you take it down. Okay, that's the location of it?
Yeah.
Okay, that's what I thought.
So it's central to everything. It's one of our most, in that region, it's the most, like he said, how many times did he stress how critical that base was?
Yeah. Because we go to ports like Australia and stuff like that.
Well, and you can see all the Gulf. I can't remember all the passages, that products traverse through, the military traverses through, like from Egypt through Saudi Arabia and Yemen. What is that strait?
I don't know.
Is that the Strait of Hormuz?
I don't know.
Okay. Anyway, there's a lot of our commerce goes through there. A lot of our military goes through there, and that base is what protects it.
Interesting. All right. Well, that is the last of it for this episode. Thank you all for watching. Thank you for all listening. People coming in and out of the episode. Thank you all for enjoying this day with us, and hopefully you have a nice remembrance of what this weekend actually means. Not for the discounts, not for the free food, but for the family that we have around us and the freedoms that we have.
Although 40% off of many appliances.
Jesus Christ, Bill. I swear to Almighty, I have to go by there in the morning. I'm going to go down to your door and show you fucking freedom. How about that? And I'm going to do it in volumes.
Hey, I fly the flag. I know freedom. Except the very first time that I did do a musical tribute online on a website, I had like a dozen different songs. And this was 11 years ago. And at first I put them up and someone said, hey, Bill, Veterans Day and Memorial Day are two different things. You might change your song playlist.
Yeah.
So anyway.
Well, anyways, thank you all for listening. Thank you all for watching. And one last treat before we go. And I'm going to do this also on Nerd Sports and Ding 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 podcast. But for us, this is a goodbye.
The soldier stood and faced God, which must always come to pass. He hoped his shoes were shining just as brightly as his brass. Step forward now, soldier. How shall I deal with you? Have you always turned the other cheek? To my church, have you been true? The soldier squared his shoulders and said, no, Lord, I guess I ain't. Because those of us who carry guns can't always be a saint. I've had to work most Sundays, and at times my talk was tough. And sometimes I've been violent because the world is awfully rough. But I never took a penny that wasn't mine to keep, though I worked a lot of overtime when the bills got just too steep. And I never passed a cry for help, though at times I shouldn't have. And sometimes, dear God, forgive me, I've wept unmanly tears. I know I don't deserve a place among the people here. They never wanted me around, except to calm their fear. If you've a place for me here, Lord, it needn't be so grand. I've never expected or had too much, but if you don't, I'll understand. There was silence all around the throne where saints had often trod, as the soldier waited quietly for the judgment of his God. Step forward now, you soldier. You have borne your burdens well. Walk peacefully on heaven's streets. You've done your time in hell. I love all